feel it tugging the wheel a little bit as some of that 700 horsepower is being sent to the front. Full power. What a massive beast. Look at the intake scoop. It's taller than my shoulder. I know I'm only short, but yeah, that's so big. Sadly, this will probably remain as the most powerful petrol engine pickup truck ever. It's the 2024 Ram 1500 TRX. This is the final edition because Ram is no longer making V8 powered versions of its 1500. From next year, around in the first half of next year, Australia will welcome a twin turbo inline six for all of the 1500 range. And that means the TRX is gone. Well, they might bring back the TRX badge, but it won't be with a V8, or very unlikely to be with a V8, unless in the future, you know, they get a lot of backlash or something and they happen to bring back a V8. But yeah, I don't think, at the moment, sorry, Ram does not have any firm plans to reintroduce the TRX or with a V8 engine. This is a special edition. There's only a limited number being produced, and in fact this example is build number 702, which could be a bit of a collector's item in the future because the engine produces 702 horsepower. It's a 6.2 litre supercharged V8, 523 kilowatts, making it the most powerful petrol engine pickup truck ever, certainly in Australia. There might be electric models that produce more in the future, but for now this is the most powerful and quickest ute kind of vehicle that we offer in Australia. Aside from the unique build number badge inside, it just has different colour trimming and stitching, and that's about it. It just remains as the beast that it always has been, the TRX. So you've got Bilstein active terrain dynamic suspension with coil springs at the back. And you've got these massive chunky all-terrain tyres mounted on unique 18-inch wheels. I actually really like these wheels. They kind of got this beadlock system around the outside. And yeah, double wishbone suspension at the front by the looks of it. Coil springs, coil-over dampers. And then at the front we've got this real bonnet scoop complete with LED lights. And then it feeds a pair of nostrils that feed into the engine intake. For this review, unfortunately, they've told me not to take it off-road. I'm guessing because it might be sold, or they just don't want it to get damaged. It's a bit of a shame. I'd love to do like a rally test with this thing, but it is what it is. So we're going to drive it on the road. I'm going to go down the usual mountain road and see how it handles. It is a very big and wide vehicle, so you'll have to excuse me if I go over the lines a little bit because it's just not possible to remain inside the lane because it's just so big. It's very difficult to park in some car parks, but if you've got like say you're backing up to a gutter or something, you can just back it up and let the tailgate go over the top of the gutter and you'll fit in there in terms of the length. But the width, you've still got to be careful. It just fits in the lane marking kind of thing, or the car park markings. Around at the back we've got a typical tray bed. It does have a damped tailgate, so that's nice. It's actually internally damped or something because it's got these cables here, but I can't actually see where the damper is. Must be in the hinge. And you've got a few mounting points, slidable rack system there. And I like the way that it's got the hooks down low, including at the front. So when you're tying things in, they tie down to the bed rather than just like against the back wall. But it does have a big seam line at the back there. I don't know why, but it just annoys me having a seam with a pickup truck or ute, because if you're picking up 500 kilograms of sand or something like that, it's going to go down into all those cracks. Probably won't cause any problems, but something inside me just says it doesn't sound right, might cause rust and so on way down the track. We do have a live axle rear end, but as I said, coil springs, awesome dampers. So it's actually one of the most comfortable utes or pickup trucks you can buy, in my opinion. And you've got proper recovery points at the front and back. Check out the size of those exhaust tips. Looks like a 4-inch tip or something, or even bigger. It's a beast of a thing, but what I actually like most is the interior, surprisingly. Definitely got that chunky muscle car startup sound. So this is basically the Hellcat engine from, you know, the Dodge Charger and Dodge Challenger. Proper muscle car engine inside a pickup truck. It's like a Baja Rally special, really. But what I mean about the interior is that it's just so practical. Like, look, you've got a little cluster of USB ports down there, and then probably the best wireless phone charger system I've seen. You put the phone in and it remains, it kind of gets clamped in there so it doesn't move around or slide about. You've got multiple cup holders and little pockets and so on, including in the side of the console. Another one up the top here. And obviously so much room, including a massive center console, and then more than enough passenger space in here. Like, my head's nowhere near the ceiling, but the sense of width and spaciousness is absolutely insane. So that's about my eye line just there. And look, there's no way I can reach across to that door handle without unclipping my seatbelt and just fully reaching across. Even then, I'd have to get up off my seat to get over to the other side. That's how big it is. You've got some driving modes down here. It's a full-time four-wheel drive system, but you can turn the traction off. Then you've got your different drive modes there, a number of different settings you can play around with, including a sport mode, a custom mode, rock, Baja, and then you're back to your sport. It's got a locking diff and low range. You've also got a launch control system, which we'll test out a bit later on. It is a proper launch control too. Like, it will hold the vehicle there and let the engine kind of hit a red line, and then you release the brake and it's, yeah, catapults off with a proper launch control style of start. The touchscreen is really nice. I've always liked Stellantis touchscreen systems, the Uconnect systems. They're quite large, but they don't overtake the whole dashboard like some vehicles that have big screens. This dashboard is so big, it's, you know, it kind of fits in anyway. But yeah, you've got various apps. It's easy to use. You've got physical buttons for the climate control, and then you've got your trailer controls down here as well, auxiliary switches, and we can go into performance pages, and you've got quarter mile timer and all that sort of thing, dyno, G-force and all that sort of stuff. And if you push this TRX button here, you can set all of your sport mode setup. So you've got stability, transmission, paddle shifters, steering, and the suspension settings. I like the way you can turn the lane keep assist off just there with a button, and there is no driver monitoring camera in here, which is great. The instrument cluster is pretty detailed, but you get used to it. You can use this arrow here and toggle through the different menu displays. Got live tire pressure monitoring. And back to the beginning. We can just have a massive speedo. There's my fuel consumption, 26 litres per 100 kilometres, which is a fair bit, but that's what you'd expect. And your steering angles and articulation and all that sort of stuff. The interior fit and finish is really nice. It's got kind of Alcantara or suede style trimming on the doors, Harman Kardon sound system. It feels very nicely made. This has got a big panoramic sunroof as well. It doesn't open fully, but you can open the shade. And if you want rear seat space from your pickup truck, look no further. Like, look how much leg room you have there. That is absolutely massive. And again, you've got a cluster of charging port options there, your own climate vents, cup holders with a little carbon fiber trim, and even a opening back window. Passenger space back here is of course not a problem for someone of my size, but even if you were a basketball player or something, you'd still have heaps of room. Like, look at that, I can stretch right out. You know, I could almost put my knees straight, you know, and have my legs straight up if I was a little bit shorter. And headroom is really good too. The seat is a little bit reclined as well, and it's actually a bit behind the pillar there. I mean, that doesn't really cause a problem in a vehicle like this because the door opening is so massive anyway. You're not going to hit your head on that. I can't find any recline adjustment, but it kind of sits back a little bit. I could sit in here for ages, go on a massive road trip and not get uncomfortable for a long time. All right, let's take it for a drive and I'll give you a bit of an idea of what it's like to drive, a 700 horsepower pickup truck. This is a quick preview. It's pretty civilized actually, apart from the noise, but even when you're just gently cruising around, it's pretty timid and quiet. It's not until you put your foot down that you start to feel what this vehicle is all about. So to start with, I'll just leave it in the normal mode. To be honest, you don't feel a massive difference in sport mode, apart from the gearbox. You know, it'll hold the revs a bit higher and so on, but it doesn't feel hugely different when you're driving normal. And speaking of which, yeah, cruising around, you can hear the supercharger whine in the background, but apart from that, it just burbles along. It doesn't really scream and shout that, yeah, this has got 700 horsepower. It just burbles, and it's got plenty of low down torque, obviously. But it's not intimidating at all. It's just cruising along just like the normal Ram 1500 pretty much. And as I said, that suspension system, the Bilstein setup, is absolutely beautiful. It's soaking up the bumps really well. You know, this is made for going off jumps at high speed, so hitting little bumps like this on a poorly surfaced country road has, yeah, it's no problem whatsoever. In terms of the cornering, it remains very flat. It's got a little bit of body roll actually, but the tires, they probably flex and bend a little bit as well, contributing to a you know, body lean type of feel. But overall, it's quite flat. All right, we'll switch it over to sport mode now. There might be a better way to do this, but I'll just slow down for a second. You push this arrow system, and it goes through all of them, so mud and sand. And if you take too long, it'll try to, yeah. So to enter rock, shift to low range, so it tries to go into the different modes as you're going through. It'd be better if they had a I don't know, just a more streamlined system for that, where you can just hit sport mode. In sport mode, it does go into an ESC mode for the stability control system, so it does let some, you know, slip and play, but not. I've tried drifting this thing, it doesn't really want to drift. It's got full-time four-wheel drive, so it just hooks up and goes around the corners. It kind of just tugs the inside wheels as it's ripping around the corners. Give it some. It does have paddle shifters as well. You can put it into a manual mode. You can use the gear shifter as well for up and down shifting. Yeah, it definitely gets up and goes. The front end lifts up and the rear squats down. Power. It does actually hit the red line as well if you don't shift gears like I just did. Yeah, it's definitely a massive beast. Hard to thread through this narrow road. You can imagine, you know, this is going to be a lot of fun out in a paddock or something, or along a dirt road or whatever. Something with a bit more room and some dirt. It'd be awesome. Second gear, bit of tyre squeal. Massive power. You can feel it tugging the wheel a little bit as some of that 700 horsepower is being sent to the front. Full power. Yeah, it's definitely got lots of grunts, but it actually handles, apart from the size, if this road was, or if I could use the whole road, it'll actually be fun to throw around, but threading it through this narrow section, it's a bit of a challenge, I guess, but still lots of fun. Good brakes, hard on the brakes, there's no problem slowing down, even with all that weight. So this weighs just over 3 tons, so 3,000 kilograms. It's enormous. Throw it in, full power, tugged at the wheel a bit there. Didn't really know what to do. Get the back sliding a little bit with momentum, I guess. Yeah, like it's definitely a bit of a handful along a road like this, but surprisingly fun. All right, let's head out now to the private road and see what sort of performance figures it can produce. Keep in mind, the top speed is limited to 160 kilometers an hour due to the off-road tires. So the quarter mile could actually be a little bit quicker if it could run out just a little bit faster.